The secrets gleaned from Falke's private data vault pulse within the bunker beneath the altar, a treasure trove of the regime's deepest vulnerabilities and Project Chimera's most insidious research. With this knowledge, my cold satisfaction intensified. The time for subtle subversion was over. The mainland was a marionette, and I, Malachi, was ready to seize the strings. My objective, to weaponize Falke's own instruments of control against him, to accelerate his regime's descent into utter collapse, and to demonstrate irrevocably who was the true king of his dying world. Nadine, my unparalleled architect of digital dominion, began the systematic exploitation of the newly acquired data. Her re-engineered mind devoured the core research into advanced psychological manipulation, the genesis of Falke's subliminal tones. She dissected its algorithms, understood its precise frequency modulations, and, with chilling efficiency, began to pervert its very purpose. Master, analysis complete. I have isolated the primary resonance frequencies used in the mass public conditioning, commencing recalibration for inversion protocols, suggesting target messages to maximize distrust and civil disengagement. Nadine reported, her avatar still perfect silhouette against the shifting schematics of Falke's broadcasting towers. Excellent, Nadine. Broadcast new directives, target messages. Your loyalty is alive. Your leaders betray you. The truth is within the static. Inject historical data from Falke's own hidden archives, fabricated evidence of corruption, betrayal, and mass human experimentation linked to Project Chimera, now indistinguishable from reality. Scatter it, randomize its appearance, make it insidious, like a virus, I commanded. My voice was a low hum, predatory purr. This was the moment I had anticipated, the ultimate act of psychological warfare on a grand scale. The very air of the mainland would become my weapon. The effect was instantaneous and devastating. Across the mainland, the omnipresent subliminal tones that had numbed the populace for decades began to warp. The comforting, hypnotic hum gave way to jarring bursts of static, then fragmented whispers of dissent, chilling snippets of fabricated conversations between Falke and his supposed betrayers. Accusations of heinous experiments, all woven into the very fabric of the background noise. Public information screens flickered, displaying brief, horrifying flashes of distorted images, masked figures, dark laboratories, scenes of engineered suffering that resonated with the populace's deepest unspoken fears. This was not just a corruption, it was the total meltdown of his propaganda machine, turning his own voice into an instrument of terror and doubt. Falke's regime descended into full-blown crisis. His inner circle, already consumed by internal purges instigated by my previous actions, now faced a new, invisible enemy, turning their own weapons against them. His paranoia, once a strategic tool, spiraled into outright delusion. Intercepted communications filtered through Nadine revealed a desperate Falke lashing out at his remaining loyalists, accusing them of sabotage, demanding impossible answers. His public appearances became rare, and when he did broadcast, his voice was strained, his eyes wild, betraying the cracks in his carefully constructed facade. The psychological impact on him was absolute. He was losing control, not to an army, but to a phantom, a whisper in the static that was eroding the very foundation of his power. Project Chimera, trapped in the center of this maelstrom, launched a desperate counterattack. Realizing their own research was being used to unravel the regime they were intrinsically linked to, they diverted all resources to a direct assault on what they believed was my primary digital hub. Their tactics were more aggressive, more targeted, aiming to disrupt Nadine directly. Master, Project Chimera is employing a new generation of neural net-based hacking algorithms. They are attempting to flood the bunker's external processors with self-replicating virus designed to specifically target Nadine's quantum processing cores, Nadine reported, a flicker of warning in her data readouts. This was their most dangerous attempt yet. a direct threat to her very existence, and by extension, to my absolute control. Redirect incoming virus to external decoy servers, activate reverse feed protocol, give them a taste of their own research, magnified, I commanded, my voice betraying no hint of urgency. This was Nadine's ultimate test. She was responding with terrifying precision. The bunker beneath the altar hummed under the strain of the digital assault, its systems pushed to their very limits as Nadine engaged in a lightning-fast war of algorithms, turning Chimera's own destructive code against them. As the mainland plunged into deeper chaos, I used the widespread confusion to my strategic advantage. My fentanyl shipment operations surged. The regime's fragmented attention meant less scrutiny on the islands, allowing my lieutenants to expand distribution channels, securing new markets. Meanwhile, on the mainland, my network, using the chaos as a perfect veil, began discreetly moving key assets and personnel, scientists, disillusioned military personnel, technicians who could be swayed by the promise of order emerging from the anarchy, into secure locations, integrating them into my burgeoning parallel empire. The underground abandoned rail systems became the arteries of my silent conquest, ferrying people and resources to the unmonitored depths, while above, Falky's world burned. My internal state was one of profound, detached satisfaction. This was the pinnacle of my power, the manifestation of my vision. I was not merely reacting, I was actively orchestrating the collapse of an entire society. The puppet master pulling every string, from the mass conditioning of the populace to internal purges of the regime. The memories of Doodle, of the raw, brutal reality of survival, now seemed distant now, absorbed into the grander design of my current ascent. I was not just a lord of solitude, I was a king, building my throne on the ashes of another's folly. The public reaction on the mainland was evolving. Initial confusion gave way to fear, then to a simmering, unarticulated rage. The constant, contradictory messages from the corrupted subliminal tones fractured their collective consciousness, eroding their program compliance. There were whispers of unseen forces, of a coming reckoning, fueled by the very propaganda meant to control them. Subtle acts of defiance began, small gatherings, unsanctioned discussions, a silent rebellion simmering beneath the surface, waiting for a catalyst. Project Chimera's desperate counterattack faltered. Nadine, having absorbed their neural net virus, turned its replication protocols against its creators, flooding their own systems with a cascade of corrupted data. Their primary digital hubs went dark, their attempts to contact their field agents failing. They had aimed for Nadine's core, but had only succeeded in blinding themselves. Their obsession with their physiology had ultimately led to their self-inflicted demise. The puppet master's strings were firmly in my grasp. Falky's regime was fracturing, its control a shattered illusion. Project Chimera was crippled, their most dangerous research now a weapon in my hands. The mainland was a fertile ground for a new order, an order I would impose with cold, unyielding precision. The bunker beneath the altar was no longer just a sanctuary or a command center. It was the chrysalis from which a new power would emerge, a king ready to claim his undisputed dominion over the underworld, and perhaps far more. The stage was set for the final act of Falky's demise and the chilling, inevitable rise of a new sovereign.